What kind of games can you play on a PC that costs just £19? Well, we're about to find out. So every now and again, I go through stages of buying complete jank from the internet. Sometimes that does equate to a whole system like the one we've got here. I generally pick them up because I want to see what they can do and what I can actually get them to do. This system didn't cost me a lot. It was only about £19, and actually it was just under £19, but I rounded up because that's cheap enough, particularly for a whole system. And when it turned up, I was highly surprised at the quality I got. From the pictures, which really do not do it justice, I thought that HP would have built a very tacky, plastic looking type of system, but it's not. It's actually quite solid, and things like the front do actually look pretty cool. It's a very clean design on the front. You get 4 USBs, which is great if you're going to do some retro gaming and you want multiple controllers plugged in. It's got a bit of airflow that goes through the front, although there's no fans inside of it to be able to do that. And to be honest, when you do look inside of it, you don't really need any fans to keep this thing cool because it is the bare minimum. It is a HP ProDesk 400G1, and you can get them very, very cheap online, as I have done with this one. At £19, it was actually on the cheaper side of things. You will generally find them for between £25 and £30. Most people will completely write them off as systems to go into because they're scared of things like proprietary connections and stuff like that. But doesn't actually mean that you can't upgrade things. We've done it in the past with even more modern ones than this, and they work perfectly fine. But like I say, the inside doesn't actually tally with the outside because it is extremely bare inside. So let me show you what I mean. Now, as far as the system goes, we've got some pretty bare components in here. We do have a green motherboard, which is very common for pre-built systems like this. A very dirty power supply, which doesn't require much power at all. I think it is just a 300 watt made by HP, and all of the dust is free. You don't have to pay extra for that. We've got a very useless DVD drive now, which is probably not good for anything. And we've got a nice spider web of cables here. Underneath this very stock looking cooler, we do have an i5 processor, and it is the i5 4570. That is a 4-core 4-thread processor from around 2013, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it is a straight quad core, and it's not really something that you want to purchase nowadays, but it is generally what these type of systems come with. It does come with dual channel RAM though, which was quite surprising, although the sticks do look to be a little bit odd. We've got a nice little blue stick here from HK Hynix or SK Hynix, and the other stick here is from Samsung, and it's in green, so at least at some point somebody has upgraded this. These sticks are 4 GB of DDR3 each, so totaling 8 GB for the complete system. We do have a fan in the back here to keep things cool, so at least we've got another header if we wanted to move this motherboard, because it is a standard ATX board, and we are missing a hard drive. Many of these systems will come without a hard drive because people are a little bit scared of their data going missing, so we will need to add something for that. Generally, people consider these as not being very upgradable because of things like proprietary connections, but in fact this motherboard comes with a standard 24 pin for the power and a 4 pin for the CPU power. So in actual fact, with the standard ATX size power supply, we could in fact upgrade that too. It also comes with a 16 times PCIe slot, so you could always drop in a graphics card as well. So that actually gives us plenty of space for doing upgrades later. But of course, we need to put this back together again now so we can see what it can do on its own. Now, of course, I never actually purchased this system to play games the way it is. The plan is to upgrade it at some point and see how far we can take it, but it is going to be interesting to see if we can actually get any type of games running off of a £19 PC, because if you can, that's even cheaper than an Xbox 360. We of course don't have a graphics card, so we are going to be running off the iGPU inside that CPU, which is the Intel HD Graphics 4600. I don't really have that much experience with it, and I'm sure it will play something, but I really want to find out what type of game that is. So let's go get the system hooked up and try a couple of games. As we don't have a hard drive in here, we will need to add one ourselves, and for that I'm just going to be installing a Western Digital Blue 1TB SATA SSD. It should plug in perfectly fine. We've got plenty of cables here. In actual fact, there's more cables than drives, so it kind of looks like at some point they had multiple drives in here, but they're, like I say, they do take them out, particularly on these office type PCs because they're scared of data being taken and stuff. But these are pretty cheap at the moment. You can pick up SATA SSDs very cheaply. You don't even need a 1TB just to get the system up and running, and I don't think you will do for the games that we're going to play, and the system should just boot perfectly fine. Because we don't have HDMI as well, we've had to use one of these connectors here. You will need something like this if you're going to a HDMI socket, maybe on your television or a newer monitor or something. It simply converts a DVI connection to a HDMI, and hopefully our capture device will pick it up perfectly fine. It should do. I've used them before and the system booted up perfectly fine. Now, systems like this, I do know for a fact, will play games like Half-Life 1 perfectly fine. In actual fact, you get a great experience in 1080p with a normal preset on this game, and you'll get above 60 frames per second most of the time, and it's super smooth, so you can definitely get away with that. You can even play things like Half-Life 2, that was released in 2004, and even the latest version that's had a few enhancements over the years runs beautifully fine on a system like this with the inbuilt graphics. You will get around 90 frames per second on average on that game, which is quite phenomenal compared to what you would get in Half-Life 1, but these games are super optimized and quite old now as well. You won't see the same if you go for something modern though. If you tried to play Stray on a system like this, you would have to lower the graphics preset down to low and the resolution down to 720p to even have a chance of the game starting, and even then the performance is really bad. You're looking at around an average of 14 frames per second with a 1% low of 7, which is completely unplayable. So we're going to have to go with something in between. We are running Windows 10 Professional on this system, and it actually found the license, a digital version of the license, perfectly fine, which is crazy because that means you get a little bit extra for your money. It's not something that I would advise people using on older systems like this anymore, because obviously Windows 10 Professional is completely out of service. You're not going to get any security patches or anything like that anymore. It's probably better to go with a Linux-based environment, to be honest, because this system won't support Windows 11 unless you hack around it, and even then you're not going to get the full security anyway. So definitely worth checking out a different Linux distribution. Something like Bazite would work, or go for something like Linux Mint with Steam on top of it or something like that. But for now we're going to be using Windows, and we've got a few games installed. First game that we're going to try is going to be Left 4 Dead 2. Now this is of course a Valve game, just like Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, but it is much newer. It is a little bit more demanding than Half-Life 2, even the latest versions. So hopefully I can get a playable experience. We're going to stick to 1080p, or at least we're going to try to stick to 1080p, and if it's playable, I think we're going to have a good time. At the moment in the menu system, we are locked to 23 FPS, but we're going to skip through that, of course. We don't care about the menu systems at the moment. It's going to completely depend on what we get inside the gameplay. Just got to wait for the game to load a little bit. These CPUs are not the fastest. In this menu though, we are getting around 270 frames per second. So we'll start, well, before we start the game, we'll go over to the options, double check the video settings. We are running in 1080p. And if we go to advanced settings, pretty much most things are turned to a high. It's a bit of a combination here. We've got vertical sync disabled. We're going to leave it disabled for this game. And then we've got shader detail low. Maybe we'll turn that up to high, and we'll match everything on high and see what happens. We'll save those settings, and let's just head over into a single player game. And one of the reasons why I like to try this game is because I love it so much. It's one of my favorite zombie apocalypse type games, and I think they did an amazing job at it. I don't think anybody's actually touched the kind of quality that this game has got, even though it is a little bit dated now. As the game starts here, we can see that we're getting an average at the moment of around 46 frames per second. I'm not quite happy with that. I need something a little bit faster. I'm sure this system can do it. So let's head back over to the options. We'll go to the video, we'll go to advanced settings, and we'll turn everything down to a medium. I don't think that's going to destroy the picture quality too much. We're going to pretty much just turn those ones down. Hopefully that will give us another little boost to maybe 60 FPS. But as long as we can get close to that, I'm pretty sure we'll be okay. So we'll go back into the game. We are now getting a locked 60 frames per second. The VSync wasn't turned on, so that must be the maximum that we've got here. And everything seems to be running perfectly fine. We'll go find ourselves some zombies, because of course that's going to affect the system performance a little bit. This game is one that I tend to play on a controller. I know you shouldn't. I know there's going to be a lot of fans out there saying, why would you do that? Because it was designed for keyboard and mouse. But it's because I kind of go through mouses when I'm playing this game. We've got a little bit of wavering on the mouse at the moment. It's not as stable as I would like it to be, but the performance is still holding. We're currently getting an average of 61 frames per second with a 1% low of 49. Definitely means that this game is playable. There's lots of zombies heading around. We take slight dips now and again down into the around 51 frames per second. We're at 46 at that point, but again, this is more than playable, probably better performance than you would have got when the game was actually released, so you can definitely play. Left 4 Dead 2, this is Left 4 Dead 2 by the way, on this system, so it's probably worth the £19 straight away, particularly for someone like me. So let's drop this game and we'll try something a little bit more demanding and maybe a little bit newer as well. So going a little bit newer with this, we're going to go for around the Xbox 360 era type games, and one of my favorites was Far Cry 3. It's actually one of my favorites of the entire series really. I don't know why, I just really like that game. I think they did a great job of it. It was kind of transitioning from the Far Cry 1 days, which was a good game, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't as open worldy, and kind of transitioning then to the Far Cry 2, which was a great game, very open world, but I didn't really get on well with the setting, and Far Cry 3 just made a whole difference. Because these games are much newer, I don't think the system's going to be able to cope with 1080p, so we're going to start the game, or we're going to try to start the game on 720. It looks like it's already kind of reverted to that because we can see our metrics in the corner is really big. Hopefully we can get a playable experience here. I mean, even if it matches something like the Xbox 360, which would have been around 720p, 30 frames per second, I don't think we can complain too much, particularly for the price of this. If you were to go and buy a Xbox 360 today, it probably would cost you more than £19 anyway, but we'll go into the story mode and we'll continue it. I don't think I've got very far through the replay of this game. It's not something that I generally pick up too often, but when I do, this is the one I actually like to play. So we're now in game and everything is a little bit slow. We're currently getting an average of 45, although we're going to reset those stats. So we've got an average of 35 frames per second. We'll go outside where it's going to be a little bit more demanding. Graphically, the game looks okay, but I'm not 100% sure what we've got configured. So let's head over to the settings. A little bit slow to get to the settings menu here, but we'll go to the video. We are running in 720p. It looks like it's defaulted to that resolution. We've got DirectX 11. We'll go over to video quality, which is where our settings are going to be. We have to use the keyboard because for some reason the mouse is a little bit weird. And everything is set to low. I'm going to leave it on low because I don't think the game or this PC can really take much more. But apart from that, I think it looks okay. We're currently getting an average of 31 frames per second with a 1% low of 25. It's not too stuttery, to be honest, for that kind of performance. I'm definitely thinking that this is roughly around the Xbox 360 type of performance and looks. You would have had a mixture of low and medium back on that console, particularly for this, and everything seems to be running great. I do love this game so much that I think I probably will end up playing a bit way through it, particularly on this system, because it's just a lot of fun to be able to do it. I'm going to go see if we can find a car or something, because cars generally in games, when you're driving around, take up a little bit more resources. I think there was one up here, so we'll head over to this car. Let's get into it. Hold E. The performance is maintaining, even though we are in a car at the moment. We've got an average of 29, well, it's gone back to 30 frames per second, 23 on the 1% lows. Definitely playable if you are somebody on a very tight budget and this is all you can afford, and particularly with the price of PC components at the moment, maybe somebody wants to just give PC gaming a go and check out the types of launchers or the things that you can do, and this system will clearly do that depending on the operating system that you're running. We're still getting an average of 30 frames per second with a 1% low of 24, so yeah, I think you can really get away with this. Oh, it's got some bad guys now. We can definitely go and test this theory out. Hopefully the performance doesn't drop too much with a lot of bad guys on the screen. It's very difficult to shoot, to be honest. I will be honest, the mouse is a little bit, it's not as reactive as it should be, but it's okay. You can kind of get away with it. There's another bad guy over here. I can see him. The bad guys are in red, so we can see him. Just going to shoot him from over here. I can barely see him from over here, to be honest. So let's get back into that car, see if we can run him down. Again, the game seems to be running okay. You can definitely get away with playing it at this kind of performance. We've got a slight increase on our frame time graph, but that's probably why the mouse is a little bit delayed. But apart from that, I think you could actually get away with playing this if you are a super tight budget gamer. So let's try another game. Let's see what else we can play on this. Now, considering that these Xbox 360 era type games seem to be running at around 30 frames per second with a low preset, I've basically plugged myself in a controller. You can definitely get away with playing games at a lower performance when you're using a controller. It just feels a little bit more smoother. They're kind of designed for it, really. But the next game that we're going to try is Mafia 2. Probably my favorite from this series as well, to be honest. I just really like the story of this one, and it does work perfectly fine with the controller, even the Windows version that we're using now. In the menu system, we're getting around 209 frames per second, but we're going to pop over to the options before we head into game. We're going to go to the video settings. So we are currently set at 720p. It's kind of really what these games are defaulting to, so we're going to leave that there. We're on full screen, we've got vertical sync off. I don't know where the actual other settings are. We've got game settings, no, video settings. Can't really see much in terms of quality. We've got shadow quality, ambient occlusion, which is on, geometric detail. I think we're just going to leave it on all of these. There is a global settings here actually. You can probably turn it to a high or a medium, but we're going to leave those settings because it seems to have chosen them, and we'll head into game and see if we can get a playable experience. So we'll go and continue the story. So again, this is right at the beginning of the game. Again, I haven't played too much through this one. I think the last time I played this game, I played the enhanced version or the remastered version. It does look a lot better than this, and so far this is still looking very Xbox 360-ish, which is great because I still think that that is quite a playable kind of quality really. Everything seems to be running quite smooth though. We're running around in the snow here. This is a very big open world game. There's a lot of things going on, so we would expect our CPU to take a little bit of a hit with this. It's currently running at around 46% utilization, and of course those graphics are running at around 100, which is okay. We're currently getting an average 42 frames per second with a 1% low of 39. Again, you could probably get away with playing this. It's working perfectly fine. Not sure how you're running this game, but I can crawl and go really small, but we'll see if we can steal a car. Can we steal a car? I don't think we can at this point in the game, to be honest. But let's hug off that vehicle for some reason. We were stuck to it, but let's have a run around anyway and we'll see what's going on. Got lots of vehicles and lots of traffic traveling around. It doesn't seem to have affected that quality too much. And we've got reasonable amount of AI people on the streets, and we're still maintaining that 42 frames per second on average with a 1% low of 38. If you haven't played this series of games, you should definitely try to play them because they're kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but I always thought they did a better job than Grand Theft Auto. There's so much more you can do on them, and it kind of plays a bit of history too. Everything in it is very kind of accurate to the period that it was based in, and I just think that's a lot of fun to play. So far, everything is still going really, really well. We took a slight dip there to 39 frames per second on the continuous, but yeah, this is again another game you can definitely play on this PC. So it kind of confirms everything really. If you are to purchase a PC like this one for like £19, you can definitely play Xbox 360 era games. These are probably earlier games because they're like 2012 to 2015, I think. Well, it's actually quite late for the Xbox 360. We're talking Xbox One realm there, but yeah, you're going to get the performance, the resolution, that kind of stuff of the Xbox 360 anyway, and it works perfectly fine. As I said previously in the video, I didn't purchase this system to see what it would actually play as it was, although it does seem quite well. I purchased this to be doing some kind of upgrades at some point and see how far we can take it. Of course, to be able to measure how far we've took it, we need to take some benchmarks, and I've already done that on this one. When we look at things like Tomb Raider from 2013, we ran a built-in benchmark on that using 1080p with a normal preset, and we got an average of around 17.4 frames per second. That's not brilliant. You will have to lower that game down to 720p as well to get it very playable, which again really confirms everything that we've found so far. And then I run a quick Heaven benchmark at 1080p with a high preset. This is a benchmark from 2009, but it was something that would run on this system and will run on an upgraded version of it. With this, we managed to get an average FPS of 9.1 with a score of 230. Now, those scores are not brilliant, and it's going to be really interesting to see how high we can increase them to. So you won't want to miss that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because that video is going to come up soon. But there you go. A very cheap £19 PC. We can play lots of games on it. We're very restricted on what we can play. I would definitely recommend going for something like Linux on this, particularly when all of the games that we tried today will run perfectly fine on Linux anyway. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this system, and also give me some recommendations on what you think we should do with it. It'd be awesome to see really how far we can take it, and if you guys have some ideas around that, I'd love to hear it. And I'm sure as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.